Howdy, Immortalium here, and today I'm reviewing the Slayer's Revolution. I know, more Slayers. Well, I decided after Slayer's tried, I would just watch the rest of the Slayers that I had. So you'll be seeing a review for Slayer's Evolution R coming soon. But for the moment I'm reviewing Slayer's Revolution. Now, Slayer's Revolution is an interesting installment, I'll say that, in the Slayer's franchise. For one, it was the first TV installment of the Slayers in over a decade. So there's about a 10-year gap between Slayer's Try and Slayer's Revolution. And that means that there's a good few changes. I'll speak about that in a moment. Let's just get back to the story first of all. So the story of the Slayer's Revolution is that we are reunited with Lena, Gary, Zelgadis and Amelia, and there is an inspector who has an arrest warrant for Lena Inverse. Interestingly, the crime that she is charged with is being Lena Inverse. But there's also a bigger plot to do with magical tanks and a new character. I'm not sure if you can see him. He's the little kind of animal-looking dude here, called Pakota. Now, Pakota is an interesting addition to the Slayer's crew. Definitely I prefer the character Pakota to the character of Philia, simply because I like the characters who butt heads with Lena. I find it's a more interesting dynamic. And also Pakota is he's a decently developed character. So overall, he's one of the better characters introduced to the Slayer's universe. And the overall story is pretty good as well. This season is only 13 episodes in comparison to the 26 of the usual Slayer seasons. But because of that, the story itself feels tighter. Basically, in what was quite normal for a lot of the Slayer seasons, and was the fact that in the middle there would be these kind of gag episodes where it's all about the comedy and the characters interacting with each other, and they were nice, but they sometimes interrupted the plot. But there was only one of them in this season, and in fairness it was a pretty damn funny one, so I didn't mind that. But the story itself was definitely one of the better Slayer stories, so it's definitely good on that front. Also, something I was missing in Slayer's Try was the kind of interaction of the characters with each other. It seemed way too focused on the new characters. Well, this season, delivered that, so, the characters interacting with each other. There was a nice episode where we saw Lena kind of setting out a plan with Gary, and then Zelgadis and Amelia were off setting up their own plan. So I thought that was a pretty nice, kind of dynamic going on, and I just kind of preferred that. Now, I mentioned some changes from the previous Slayer's installments, and the first thing you'll notice is the animation. Now, the original Slayers was done in, was it 96 to 97, I think? Might have been 95, about then. But the point was that it was animated on cells, whereas the Slayer's Revolution is animated digitally, and this causes it to have a different look than the original series. Now, if I have to confess, I actually prefer the look of the original series. I prefer, the use of the colours in the original series more. I liked the look of the characters a bit more in the original series. But I will say that this season of the Slayers is the best animated. Now, I don't know if it's, to do with maybe the larger budget. If they had a larger budget, I don't know that. Or was it to do with the technology? Maybe it was cheaper to do digital animation than cell animation. But the point was, there was a lot more animation, a lot more fluid animation this season than any of the others. For example, one thing I always love is when a character, shoots off a fireball or something like that, for the camera to kind of follow it along the ground and to actually have the background changing. It's expensive to do, but very nice when done well. So definitely, this is the best animated. And I would say that that's worth the trade-off of, it not looking as nice as the original series. I think that's a pretty good trade-off. The other thing I need to talk about is the voice cast. Now, there was an 8-year gap between the English release of Slayer's Try and the English release of Slayer's Revolution. But the cool thing is that they actually got most of the cast back. So Lisa Ortiz voices Lena, Eric Stewart voices Gowrie. Crispin Freeman voices Zelgada. Veronica Taylor voices Amelia. You know, that's great, and you know they're as good as ever. So that's fantastic. But I do have to mention some other stuff. So first of all, I'll talk about Bakota. Bakota is voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, and basically most people would know her best for voicing Konohamaru from Naruto. That's definitely the voice she uses for Bakota, and she delivers a very good voice for Bakota. You know, she knows when to be funny, when to be annoying, when to be serious. You know, she delivers a very good performance. But concerning English dub, there's some things I do have to mention, and that is, while most of the cast is back, not everyone is. So first of all, I'll start off with the positive, and that is Silphiel. Now, Silphiel is a character that had not appeared since Slayer's Next, and in my opinion, her voice actress, what was the voice actress's name? Stacia Crawford. Stacia Crawford was a lot stiffer than the rest of the Slayer's cast, and I thought she was definitely one of the weakest links. So, by God, was I happy when I heard Stephanie Shea's voice, you know, coming out of her mouth. Because definitely, I remember when I saw Silphiel, I was thinking to myself, that is so Stephanie Shea all the way. Like, I'm a big Stephanie Shea fan. I love her voice. And I think she gives the character Silphiel a lot more energy, a lot more dynamism. She's just a superior voice actress, so that's a change that, you know, I was just so happy to hear. Now, some changes that I'm not too keen on. I'll start off with the more middle-ish one, and that is Zelos. Now, Zelos was originally voiced by a voice actor called David Moo, but David Moo retired from voice acting in the 8-year gap between Slayer's Try and Slayer's Revolution. So understandably they couldn't get him back. So now he's voiced by an actor called Michael Sinter-Nicholas. And Michael, he's good. He delivers a very good performance, but the problem is that he just doesn't sound much like Zelos. And that wasn't helped by the fact that the first appearance of Zelos in this season was, you know, Zelos being off screen and the character's going, I recognize that voice. And I was thinking to myself, well, I don't. And then when I saw Zelos, I was like, oh, you know, okay, they've changed the voice actor. So Michael, I would say that it's a voice that I will get used to, and definitely it's nuanced and I like it, but it is a bit of a shock in comparison to David Moo's performance. It's a bit of a change that isn't easy to adapt to. And finally, the last change, this is a more minor one now, and that's Prince Philionel. Prince Philionel is Amelia's father, and was in the original series, was voiced by Jimmy Zoppi, who delivered a great kind of textured voice to his performance. But he's been replaced by a voice actor called David Brimmer. Now, this really deep kind of textured voice is now replaced with a more lighter, higher kind of voice, which, you know, I don't think suits Prince Philionel at all. Now, from what I can tell, apparently those few episodes in Slayer's Revolution are the only times Prince Philionel show up in these 2 seasons, newer seasons. So that's a relatively minor issue, but still it's a bit distracting. There may have been voice changes that I did not pick up on, but the rest of the cast, you know, served their roles very well. So overall, for the English dub, I definitely commend Funimation for getting back most of the original cast, for making a sensible decision for changing Silphiel's voice actress, and giving a competent change to Zelos, but I do criticize them for the change in Philionel. So, overall, what is my opinion of the Slayer's Revolution? In my opinion, it's actually become my second favourite season of the Slayers. I think it's better than the kind of mediocre being very unstable in quality first season, and it's better than the kind of mediocre Slayer's Try, but it doesn't quite reach the heights of awesomeness that Slayer's next reached. But still, you know, it's for a Slayer season, particularly a Slayer season that, you know, only came back like about a decade later. It's very well handled. It's exceptionally well done, and I would definitely recommend any Slayers fan go purchase it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye bye.